Action.
Welcome to Filmmakers Focus. I'm Doc Kennedy. This week's special guest is Mandy May Cheetham. So Mandy May is a filmmaker, actor, filmmaker, rapper. She does it all. So welcome to the show, Mandy May.
Thanks for having me, Doc.
You betcha. What caught my eye when I saw what you're up to is you're an actress that has decided to do what a lot of people are recommending now. I know that my friend Tommy Kendrick, he's real big on this. It's actors being proactive, actors creating their own projects. So let's talk a little bit about your background, how you got into the acting business.
Well, I acted as a kid in school up until about the ninth grade, and then I got more involved in cheerleading and athletics after that. And I ran a cheerleading company for 10 years called Fly Girl, and it was a lot of fun, amazing. I got to travel the world. I coached the Chinese national team in Finnish and Swedish and all over the UK. So I learned a lot of business skills in doing that. I learned a lot about sales and cold calling and marketing and like everything you could possibly, as a small business owner, you have to do it all.
Yeah.
And then in my 30s, I just had a major shift, like all kinds of crazy things happened. And, when your life blows up, you have this beautiful gift of being able to start over. And I found this book called The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron.
Okay.
It's like a 12-week course, and it has a written meditation every morning. So you just write 3 pages of stream of consciousness, whatever you need to get out.
Okay.
And it's like, anytime you're creating anything, you have that little space of time, or at least I do, is the first hour usually where I'm like just trying to make things, but that terrible voice in my head is yelling at me and telling me I'm stupid and it's not funny and whatever. If you just keep writing and just keep pushing through it and knowing it's all garbage and just letting it come out of you, eventually you drop in and you drop into the space where that voice gets quiet. And in doing this course through the book, The Artist's Way, by doing that every morning, I would start the day dropped in. And because of that, I was open to so much more inspiration and like connected to the world in a really different way. And so the acting thing happened pretty quickly for me once I started to drop in. I realized that was what I really, really wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And even though I was afraid, I was going to just make a habit of doing the things that scared me. And so that was 6 years ago, and here I am.
There's a lot that I could pick through there. One thing that really caught my attention is talking about our time and first thing in the morning. That's the best time for you?
Not to work necessarily. Okay. I have I'm a very inconsistent person. And when I say first thing in the morning, I mean when I wake up. So that's like 11 or 1 or 6, whatever it is,
Uh-huh.
One of the things I try to do consistently is to honor my impulses. So if possible, if I'm, out and about, I just like put it down on my phone. But anytime I feel inspiration, I hear a joke or I hear a song lyric or something, I kind of believe that we're channels for divine information. Now, whether you want to think of that as like, whether you call it God or collective consciousness or like an energy or whatever it is, it's like we're all just plucking these ideas out of that space. And then they go through our unique filters, which are our bodies, and then they come out of us in our unique way. So my job as an artist is to be open and listen for those things, and then to actually make the effort to write it down. So I try to, if I'm consistent in any way, it's like making sure that I write things down when they come to me. Yeah. But I wouldn't say that I'm good at doing it first thing in the morning. But the morning pages, I find if I don't do those right away, when I open my eyes, like even before I go pee, TMI, I'm sure. But
no, not on this show.
Yeah, good. Okay. So then I get distracted by other shit and I don't do it. And then it's too late. I'm not dropped in because that other voice has gotten too loud, the negative one that tells me I can't do anything, and that one then just takes over my day.
Yeah, I can relate to that completely. I'm coming from the Christian point of view, of course, and people on this show know that.
Oh, cool.
So it's been really cool waking up. Like, I'll get these thoughts in the night, and I really believe that it's God speaking to me, that he's giving me these jokes while I'm doing stand-up, and some of my best bits have come from that time. But what you talked about was being willing to take those. And that's something that I've really messed up on in the past is I get the idea comes, and then I don't write it down. And I think that I'll remember it, which is a total lie.
Yeah.
That ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
Something else that really stuck out with me is the idea of time. And I had someone talk, I can't remember who it was I was talking with this week, and I apologize if they're listening and they hear this, but we were talking about how really you have 4 hours in the day where you're really in tune, where you really are. It's not 8 hours. It's not any more than that. It's really 4 hours. So taking that 4 hour block and knowing when that time is that you're really hitting it hard. For me, it's later in the afternoon. That's when I really wake up, and I'm with you. My time for waking up can be a different time of the day, any day. But, just making sure that we're really in tune, really focusing on our work and getting it done during at least that 4 hour stretch, if not more, but knowing that we only have a limited time to make things happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And even if you do sit down for 8 hours, it's when are you actually productive?
Yeah.
It's
for sure. Yeah. Like I can write for 8 hours, but how long am I actually writing?
Yeah. There's a really good book about that, actually, not specifically about the time, but about discipline and preparedness and performance. It's called Bounce.
Okay.
I don't think I have it here, so I don't know the author, but it's about table tennis. And yeah, the guy was an Olympic table tennisist. Tenorist. I don't know how you say that.
Oh, that sounds good.
But yeah, table tenorist. And he talks about choking and how athletes choke in the Olympics. That's one of the things that he talks about, and the getting prepared for a major event like a performance or something like the Olympics. And then he also talks about practice and whether you're quantity versus quality. So his story is about it's a bit like Freakonomics. It's a Freakonomics approach to sport, and it works in the arts too. But he's talking about table tennis and how most of the table tennists came from a specific area in England, and within a radius of say 30 miles of the Olympians that were killing it. And the reason was there was a community center in that neighborhood. It was a poorer neighborhood, and this gentleman moved into the neighborhood, and he was an enthusiast, or he was a good coach and came from an intense background of table tennising. And the facility was just whatever they had available. So they brought this table in, and the room was really short. So they didn't have the full space that all of the other countries had when they were training. So all of the athletes learned to play very aggressively right up against the edge of the table. Wow. So when they went to play with the other countries and compete against them, they were killing them because it was a style that no one else played because they all had all this room. So it's like the type of practicing that they were doing was so specific to developing that skill that it gave them an edge. And I think in relation to comedy, it's like you think about someone like Steve Martin and his style of comedy that he created that was developed over time based on his very, very unique and specific experiences, like working in a joke shop, right? That was sort of how he started. And I think sometimes people look too much at what other people are liking and trying to fit into what currently exists rather than allowing your very specific, unique set of skills to create a project that is just for you. Yeah. And for me, my particular project, that I just did, Mother, about a housewife who becomes a rapper, was my place where all of my very specific skills could live. I have an episode where I turn into a cheerleader, which is like my cheerleading background. And I just like, I found because I was good at a lot of things, I was like, well, I want to write a dramatic feature and I want to do a comedy variety show and I want it blah, blah, blah. But I was like, no, people are responding to you as a rapper. So put everything in one little show and then just focus on that. So you get to do everything in this one teeny tiny space. I went so far off.
You know what? It works because we could be talking about personal development all day long, and I would love to, but let's jump into Mother. And well, one thing that I really appreciate about your story, Mandy May, is that you came along later and you weren't afraid. You're not afraid to take on new challenges. And I know that there's a lot of people out there that feel afraid at any age, but yet alone doing it later in life, being willing to take that risk. So, risk, quote unquote, that, you may fail. Well, you may fail when you're younger too. So I really appreciate that about you. How has that actually helped you in making Mother happen?
I've just like lost everything a couple of times in my life already. Everything, meaning people I love and homes and businesses and like, I've been bankrupt. It's like, that song, me and Bobby McGee, freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose, is where I got to. And, I think that I'm afraid every day. Like, it's not that I'm not scared, but it's, Vince Lombardi says, excellence is a habit. We are what we repeatedly do. And I've made a habit out of just feeling the fear and doing it anyway. So it's not that I'm not scared. It's just that I practiced it when I was 19 and I joined Amway, which was like insane. But I learned about cold calling my friends and family, not cold calling, but calling my friends and family and trying to get them to join Amway, and being like practicing on them and doing one call at a time. And then when I built my cheerleading company, I would call a school and like have to figure out how to get by the secretary to get to the cheerleading coach. And it's just like eating the elephant one bite at a time. And so I try to do the hard things and stay in the habit of that. And when I feel afraid, it's like, well, this is who you are. You're this person who feels the fear and does it anyway. And I just keep coming back to that. And fear is just false evidence appearing real. Yep. Like if you really sit down and look at it, what is the thing that you're most afraid of happening? Okay, well, it usually comes back to they won't love me. I'll be abandoned. People will say mean things. Well, has that happened to you before? Yes. Did you survive? Yes. Were you better for it? Yes. Okay. So ready, fire, aim.
Absolutely. So I can tell that you read a lot.
I have. Yeah.
How has that impacted your growth?
I think like I haven't read a lot lately. I have a harder time getting through stuff now just because I'm so much busier writing. But in the days when I was building my business, I read a lot of entrepreneurial books and I did a lot of reading, like spiritual reading and stuff too. And the spirituality stuff and the entrepreneurial stuff are very similar. So I encourage artists to reach a little bit outside of the books about Hollywood and about making it in this industry, because I think that it's a very weird and twisted universe. But the truths that are true in like self-development and entrepreneurial books are true here too. And I think the reason, and I know the reason that I've been able to do so much in such a short period of time in this industry is because I brought my discipline from my last industry, which was cheerleading, like a discipline of an athlete, and the business skills that I developed that were transferable. And that's like books like Good to Great and The E-Myth and How to Win Friends and Influence People.
That one totally changed my life.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. That one will rock your world.
Yeah, it's a great book. And then on the spiritual side, like I've read a lot of Marianne Williamson's books. A Return to Love is a favorite of mine. And then the Conversations with God books are just Neil Donald Walsh. Those books are phenomenal. And that helps me with perspective, I think, and just recognizing like in a Return to Love, the whole book is about fear and love, and like fear is false and love is the only thing that exists, and that in any given situation, whatever's missing from that situation is what you're not bringing to it. So if you feel like there's something that's not happening for you, well, what are you doing to make it happen? If you were to translate that into the arts, it's like so many actors I know and artists and directors and everyone is just like, I want this to happen for me, but it's not happening. Like my agent's not doing the work. Well, what are you doing that you can be doing to support your agent in doing that work? Like, I know my agents aren't always thinking about me. They have other people on their roster. So
true.
if I want their attention, I'm going to update my reel and send them a new version of my reel just to remind them who I am. And like, I'm going to go out and do a student film or whatever, depending on whatever stage you're at, what can I be doing? I'm going to go on IMDb Pro and see what's in production. And I'm going to send emails to the production companies and just let them know I exist if there's a project that resonates with me. Like there's so many resources available. You just have to think outside of like the box,
No, I love the perspective that you're bringing to this because it's so different than what we're used to. And really, had you not had that perspective, Mother wouldn't have never happened because it just requires that entrepreneurial spirit to make that happen. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. It's like, the problem is that there's this myth surrounding Hollywood and acting and this industry we're in that says that someone else needs to give you permission. Yeah. You need to be discovered by a studio head or whatever. Well, think about where that studio stuff came from. That was just like a bunch of kids who went out to the desert and like, let's create something out of nothing, out of the dust in the desert. They were entrepreneurs and they gave themselves permission. And then everyone else was like, oh, look at you. You're like a big deal. We're in the age of making yourself into a big deal like never before. You have every tool available to you. And the only thing that gets in the way is like people being afraid of, again, what will they think of me? What will people say? Am I going to look like I'm promoting myself too much or whatever? And that's your tone is up to you, how you present yourself. All of those things is something to be discovered. But I think we all feel like we need to come out the gate just polished and ready and everything is done. And that's not true. You need to make mistakes and try things, and some stuff works and some doesn't. It's like, when you're rehearsing for a role, if you don't have the safety of the rehearsal space and that process, it's really, really hard to develop a character. So why do you think that the business side of this is any different from the art side? It's exactly the same. Yep. You have to make mistakes.
Oh, for sure. But I love that you're willing to do that. This is going to bless a lot of people, Mandy May. So I thank you for sharing all this.
Oh, thank you.
Let's talk a little bit about the production side, because I could go on, like I said, we could talk personal development all day long. Let's touch on Mother a little bit. So when you decided that you were going to make this happen, what were the first steps that you took?
From the writing or from the production?
So you start writing. Did you write every episode?
I wrote a half-hour show, and I tried to sell that. So that was the first step. I sent the script around. I made a music video called Where My Bitch Is At. And it's like, turn the word bitch into a permanent term of endearment is the chorus. So I was like emancipating housewives on my street and trying to get them all to come out and dance. And so I did that with a friend for $100, and wow. We just shot it, and it's pretty great. She was amazing. Priya Lorenz is her name. She's a director.
So you used the music video to pitch to producers?
Yeah, to pitch to networks, producers, agents. all over the place. And it wasn't a strong enough proof of concept yet. I didn't really have a following. We hadn't quite shifted into the female-driven content thing. It like literally happened at the point when I had the music video.
Okay.
While I was out pitching one week, I did this thing called the Hollywood Field Trip. A couple of friends of mine run it, and they invite people from outside of the U.S. to come into the U.S. and meet with their contacts in Hollywood and practice pitching and maybe get their show picked up or movie or whatever. And we met like Mosaic, CBS. We went to HBO. Like, it was amazing. Really, really great contacts.
Yeah.
And one of the people I met was Brian who created Breaking Bad, Vince Gilligan.
Mm-hmm.
Vince Gilligan's manager. And he said, you need to just start the party and make them come to you. Mm-hmm. Like, don't wait for someone else to give you permission to make this. He's like, do it, make it raunchy, put it on the web. And because he watched my video and stuff, and I was like, that's really great advice. So that stuck with me. And when I got home after that series of meetings, I put a call out on Facebook and I said, hey guys, here's the script that I have. Okay, now I put it out on my website, and that's a block a lot of people have that I meet. They won't put their scripts out. They're afraid they're going to get stolen. Yeah. And like, I'm sorry, but we'll hang on to it and see how that does for you. Like, unless you're going to make it in your backyard, you need people to read it. Yeah. So it's still on my website. It's on I have a mandymaycheetham.com. It's on that website. So from there, I had 20 some odd people show up at a meeting and another 20 some odd people who messaged me and said they wanted to be involved. And everyone came from all over the place. Like, just friends and people in the industry and what have you. So from there, the momentum started rolling. We had a fund here, the IPF in Canada, that we could apply to get some money for funding. And there's a million contests and funds and things that you can enter. And I really, really suggest like doing that, because it helped keep the train going and keep everyone on board and like get them all jazzed at the potential to win something or like be involved. And the guidelines for that particular fund helped us to pull all of the right pieces together, which would eventually help me to sell the show. So I made a deck, which is like a sponsorship sort of document that outlines like who the characters are, who I am, what my social media reach is, the pitch of the show. And it's like a visual deck. That's also on my website too. You can see that, and you can use it to reach out to sponsors. So it helped us to create that. And then we also had to do a teaser, and the teaser was a 2-minute one, and everyone came together and volunteered their time, and it ended up costing us $500 to make. Mm-hmm. And that teaser eventually, I went to MIP TV, which is conference in Cannes in France, just for TV shows. And we had gotten shortlisted for that fund, and they said I needed a distribution plan. And I had no idea what that meant outside of putting it on YouTube, Yeah. So I was like, there's got to be someone out there that would give us a couple $1,000 for this, whatever. So I'm going to go to this conference and see who I can meet. So I went there. I met the people that eventually introduced me to ABSO, and then they were kind of slow in making it happen. So I just got on a plane and went down to LA and was like, I'm here. I want to meet with ABSO, and forced the meeting to happen. So, a lot of it, the process was about me continuing to drive that train, and all these people wanted to take over steering it along the way. So it was like, okay, well, you can sit beside me, but I'm still going to keep steering it, and I'm going to drive the timeline too, so that they couldn't block it. And then, when I got to ABSO, at that stage, I got a manager in LA, and he then took me around to Warner Brothers and NBC and all the studios to see if we could sell it as a sitcom. Mm-hmm. But through the whole thing, True TV had seen the teaser, the 2-minute teaser, and they were like, we want that over and over again for our Rachel Dratch late night snack show. And we were like, no, we don't want that. We want a half-hour show on NBC, and then we're like, well, NBC doesn't want us. And actually, True TV, I think, would be really great to work with, because they're giving a lot of freedom in terms of content and blah, blah, blah. So it just sort of worked out. We had another offer as well, but we chose to go that way. And I'm so glad we did, because, even though I had been writing the show for 2 years, writing and rewriting and rewriting and in 10-minute episodes for the IPF fund, and then in 5-minute episodes with a storyline for True TV. And then they came back and said, no, we want them to be standalone and we want a song in every episode. And then I had like 6 weeks to rewrite it, with songs. And, but I knew the characters so well at that point that at the end of the day, what it did was give me, however much money to create a really kick-ass proof of concept for this character and a beautiful vehicle for myself as an artist to say, here's me being comedic, dramatic, singing, dancing, rapping. There you go. So when I first started, I had said to my mom, okay, well, I'm getting on this train. I'm going to start up the engine. But if at the end of the day, all I get is a better agent, I'm good.
Yeah.
Sure. And I got so much more than that.
Sure. No, again, there's a ton that I can pick out of this, but I think it starts with you being willing, like you said, to expose your script to the public, which, like you said, people aren't willing to do. I think that we put too much thought into that people would steal our stuff when the truth is most people don't have that ambition anyway. The chances of them making something, if they're willing to steal, the chances of them actually making it are even slim,
They are slim to none. And not only that, can I just tell you how many people since my show has come out that I've spoken to that have projects that I'm really interested in producing, and like I'm at a point now where I can get stuff made and they just won't send them to me.
Yeah.
Because they're scared.
Yeah.
It's not ready yet. I just got to do another pass. And that is like watching someone dig their own grave, because, hopefully my career keeps going on the trajectory it's on. And in a year and a half, when they've finally done another pass, I'm going to be like, I'm sorry, I don't have time in my schedule to make this anymore, and like, whereas now I could do it.
Yeah.
So
your train is here, but it is moving.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love
Ready,
that.
fire, aim.
That's it. Yep. I love that. What does the next year look like for you, Mandy May?
Yeah, so I just shot another show called Mandy Mayhem's Rapping with Actors, which is a variety show, talk show, and it was really awesome. There's like a local TV channel that's Bell 5. It's like cable subscribers can get it, access to it. There's only like 1 million people that can actually access it. And it's on like channel 932 or something, so it's super low risk. And they just, they gave us this deal where they covered most of the costs for cameras and like catering and facility and all of that stuff. And so again, everyone came on board and donated their time, and we could play because there was just no stakes. So what came out of it is really, really wacky and weird. It's like a mix of Laugh-In and Inside the Actors Studio.
Okay.
So that's great. That'll be coming out in the spring, and we'll take that weird local cable show and cut a teaser and try and sell it to, like, who knows, Comedy Central or whomever. And then I've got a couple films in development that I'm working on with different writers, and I would love to keep writing my own stuff, but it's such a process, and I would way rather work on things that are ready to go because I've got a little bit of momentum now. So that, and then I'm going to LA in 2 weeks for pilot season to go and do the grind and run around and see if anyone likes me.
Well, that's awesome. I love the momentum that you have. I love your desire to succeed. I know I've gotten a ton out of this, Mandy May. I mean, it's really blessed me. So thank you.
Thank you.
How can people get in touch with you?
Well, first place to go is msmutha.com, msmutha.com. On there, you can watch full episodes of the show, the excerpts from Rachel Dratch's Late Night Snack, and soon there's one more episode coming out next Friday, 11:30 Eastern and Pacific on True TV and 10:30 Central. And then you can also find me on all of these social medias, the Instagrams and the Twitters at Manda Murhead, which is a really weird name, but it's MandaMurhead. And it's because when I was a little kid, my next door neighbor used to come. She was like 4 years old. She'd come and bang on the door and be like, "Is Manda Murhead home?"
Well, we'll have links to all that stuff in the show notes, and we're going to have you back on here, Mandy May, in a year or so and just get a little catch up on how things are going for you.
I'd love that. Thank you.
Wow, what a great conversation. Thanks again, Mandy May, for taking the time to come on and just share your heart with us. I want to talk real quick about the personal development side. Mandy May and I talked about that quite a bit, and I want to commend you, the listener, for listening to this podcast, because that is personal development. You're taking the time to invest in yourself, to help yourself grow in the field that you love. Keep doing these things. Keep listening to podcasts there's a number of podcasts out there that can help you grow, not only in this field, but as a person. Dig those up. Reading books, just doing the things that are uncommon will separate you from the masses. I truly believe that. And you know what? The results might not show up today. They might not show up tomorrow, but they will show up. So I want to encourage you again to head on over to Filmmakers Focus. Join the Facebook group, Filmmakers Focus Facebook group. You'll get a special welcome from me, and the group is growing great, and I'm super excited about what's going on in there. I'm going to come up with some different stuff that we're going to be doing that's going to be some fun too. So just encouraging each other. And that's really what it's about. It's about encouraging each other and helping each other where we can. So the link to the Facebook group will be in the show notes as well. I look forward to hearing from you guys. I've been getting a lot of feedback, which has been awesome. I love what you guys have going on, what you have to share. So God bless. Go and grow.